On February 25, 1957, police got a tape from a college student named Frederick Benosis, who claimed that he had found a box which contained the naked corpse of a boy wrapped with a thin blanket. At the time of this discovery, police had no idea that this case will remain unsolved for decades. According to the NamUs database, there are almost 4,400 unidentified bodies found yearly in United States, but only a few of them ever get the closure they deserve. One of these unfortunate cases includes the infamous case of the boy in the box. Police and some private investigators are trying tirelessly to solve this case for over 6 decades. But till this day, they haven't discovered the real identity of this unfortunate child. On February 1957, a young man was checking on his animal traps in Philadelphia's Fox Chase neighborhood. While doing this, he saw a cardboard box, and in that box, there was a battered and mutilated body of a young child. Even after seeing this horrific scene, the man didn't report it to the authorities because he feared that they might confiscate his traps. Just a few days after this, the body was again discovered by a college student named Frederick Benosis, who at the time didn't report it to the police and went home. But on the next day, when he heard the news of a missing girl on the radio, he reported it to the police. The police acted upon his tape and went to the crime scene, where they discovered the boy's body. The investigators combed the crime scene, and every bit of evidence was collected. At the time, this case garnered massive media attention, and there were flyers posted and distributed throughout the Philadelphia in the hope of finding the real identity of the victim. The boy's body was brought to the coroner's office, who determined the cause of death to be blunt force trauma to the child's head. The exact time of the death couldn't be determined, but the coroner's estimate suggested that the boy died just a few days or 2 to 3 weeks before being discovered. Autopsy also mentions that the boy suffered years of abuse. The clumps of hair on the boy's body suggested that his hair were possibly cropped after his death. The boy had surgical scars under his ankle and groin, and a L-shaped scar under his chin. These scars made doctors believe that the boy received a surgical treatment at some point of his life. His feet were wrinkled, which led investigators to believe that he might have died due to drowning. The child's esophagus showed the signs of him vomiting before his death, despite not having eaten anything for hours prior to his death. At the crime scene, police found a cardboard box which at one point contained a bassinet, a blanket in which the boy's body was wrapped, a blue corduroy cap, and a handkerchief with the letter G, and a child's scarf. The cardboard box in which the body was found originally contained a bassinet in it, which was traced back to a store named J.C. Penney in Pennsylvania. The store only sold 12 of these bassinets, but when police tracked down these buyers, it led them to a dead end. The blanket in which the body was wrapped was also proved to be a dead end, because at the time, thousands of these sorts of blankets were produced and sold across the United States. The blue corduroy cap was traced back to a shop in Philadelphia. The shop owner told police that the cap was customized for a man in his late 20s. The owner also told that the man had blonde hair and his accent wasn't identified by her, and she never saw him again after the purchase. Police began a search for this man, but he was not discovered. With all these leads proving to be dead ends, police released a post-mortem photo of the boy, fully dressed and in a seated position, hoping that this may lead them to a conclusion, but no one came forward. There were many theories about this case. Some people theorized that the boy in the box wasn't a boy, but actually a girl. Some suggested that he was a Hungarian refugee, while others believed that he was a child of the carnival workers. But only few theories have solid grounds to be believable. This theory involves Remington Bristol, who was an employee at the examiner's office and felt a personal connection to the boy. He pursued this case and contacted with a psychic who led him to a foster home that was located approximately 1.5 miles away from the crime scene. Upon inspecting the foster home, Remington found a bassinet similar to the ones sold at the J.C. Penney. He also found blankets similar to the blanket in which the boy's body was wrapped in. Remington theory claims that the boy belonged to the stepdaughter of the man who ran the foster home. He believes that the boy died due to an accident and the family disposed of the body so the daughter would not be exposed as an unwed mother. Despite this being a solid theory, police were not able to link this crime with the Foster family and their investigation was closed. In the first quarter of 2002, a woman named Martha came forward and told police that her mother bought a child named Jonathan in 1954. She claimed that the boy was physically and sexually abused by her mother, and one evening, while having dinner, the boy vomited his food at the table, which made her mother furious, and she slammed the boy's head against the floor. Then she took his unconscious body to the bathtub where he died. She claimed that her mother cut the distinctive long hair of the boy in order to conceal his identity. She told the police that her mother forced her to help dispose of the body of the boy. Martha says that when they were dumping the body in the Fox Chase area, they were noticed by a motorist who pulled alongside to inquire whether they needed help. Martha's mother convinced the motorist that everything was alright, and the man finally drove off. This theory was very much plausible, but police was unable to verify her claims due to her mental history and the statements of her neighbors, who denied her claims and told police that there was no young boy in that area at that time who matched the description of the boy in the box. Despite the police efforts to identify this boy, no one came forward to claim him, and he was buried in Potter's Field. In 1998, he was exhumed for the purpose of extracting his DNA. He was then reburied at the Ivy Hill Cemetery in Cedarbrook, Philadelphia. His grave has a large headstone engraved with the writing, "America's Unknown Child." In 2019, his body was again exhumed for the creation of a DNA profile. His original tombstone has these lines engraved on it: "Heavenly Father, bless this unknown child." Till this day, the boy's real identity is shrouded in mystery, and his name still eludes the police. Though unknown, this boy's resting place gets many visitors every day, and people pray for him to get the closure he deserves.